Hey, and good Thursday morning to you. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. We're going to do a video update on this Thursday morning because it could be an interesting day for sure today, an unusual January day across the area with warm temperatures, the potential for some rare January thunderstorms towards the end of the day, and then a turn towards much colder and more seasonable weather as we head towards our Friday and the upcoming weekend. It's been raining all night, and the rain is tapering off as of this recording at about 7:30 a.m. Lingering showers expected now for the next handful of hours, but it won't be all that steady, and these showers will then push away as we head towards midday, allowing for again, some changeable conditions. Here's our area of low pressure out here across the Midwest around Chicago. One front extending east. This front does not have the cool air with it. The actual cold front with the cold air behind it is back here. And in between those two features is where we'll get into a warm sector. This is like a springtime type of a setup. It won't be as moist as an April or May storm. We won't have quite the same dynamics as you would later in the prime severe weather season, but there are some similarities, including a lot of wind energy aloft, a lot of changing of the wind direction and speed with height through the atmosphere. And so those are things we have to pay attention to today because this kind of setup, even in the dead of winter, if it's warm enough and there's enough wind energy aloft, this kind of setup can produce some heavy gusty thunderstorms. Rainfall totals overnight shaping up to be on the order of 0.4 to 0.5 inches. We'll end up with maybe 3/4 of an inch worth of rain before the morning is through and the rain completely tapers off and ends towards midday. One of the ingredients for late day showers and storms today, clearing skies. It is dead solid overcast this morning, but as we head towards afternoon, look what happens. The overcast clears out. I think the sun is going to come out. It'll turn out to be a beautiful few hours this afternoon. We'll get into the 50s. And again, the sun will be shining and it won't feel or look like January. Here's a look at how temperatures can respond to that sunshine. Now, in far western PA, east of I-79 especially, we might struggle for a while to get out of the 40s, but elsewhere, I think 50s are a good bet, maybe even 56, 57 degrees. The record high at the airport today is 61 degrees, so I think that's probably out of reach, but we'll give it a run for its money. We'll get well up into the 50s this afternoon. In the meantime, as we go into the afternoon and our second more westerly front approaches, look what happens. A blow-up of showers and probably some thunder by about 4 or 5 p.m. out towards Dayton, Lima, Toledo, and this stuff will be racing quickly off to the north and the east. It will be feeding off a lot of wind energy aloft. The fact that the sun will have come out in Ohio for a handful of hours this afternoon will help to destabilize the atmosphere, allow air parcels to freely rise. Again, it's not the kind of extreme buoyancy with moisture that you're going to see in May. It's the dead of winter, but it's good enough that this stuff will probably maintain itself all the way across Ohio. So this line of showers and storms heads towards Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Dover, New Philly, closer to 7. I think putting it on track to impact a lot of the WFMJ viewing area, closer to 8, 9 o'clock. Here's 10 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, I should say, this evening. Again, this stuff's going to be moving very, very quickly. I think the number one threat overall, easily, is damaging wind gusts. If you have any loose items, any leftover maybe Christmas decorations that you just haven't gotten to just yet, or anything else outdoors, good idea to secure them before this evening, because a lot of us are going to see a quick burst of wind as this line of showers and storms moves through. A secondary threat, of course, would be an isolated tornado. As far as the risk goes today, the Storm Prediction Center, part of the National Weather Service, does have an area where you see the yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5, slight risk of severe weather, including places like Dayton, Findlay, Columbus, and as far east as Akron and Canton. Our television viewing area, at least in our Ohio counties, is under a level 1 marginal risk of severe weather, and severe weather would be defined as large hail, winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, or an isolated tornado. That's the definition of severe weather. So we have a low-end risk of severe weather, but a pretty good risk of a gusty line of showers and storms early this evening. Again, the timing for our local area right around 8, 9 o'clock, give or take. The tornado risk locally, I wouldn't say it's zero, but it's lower than it is out in central Ohio. I think this is definitely a warranted forecast of a 2 to 4% risk of an isolated tornado within 25 miles of any point in central Ohio, parts of western Ohio as well. Once this line moves into far eastern Ohio and western PA, it's going to be a few hours after sunset. The atmosphere will not be as unstable. It'll be a little bit cooler and just not quite as favorable for an isolated tornado. But I don't think the risk goes down to zero closer to the PA border. It's just a little bit lower than it is off to the west. So it's a day to stay weather aware, something we don't talk about often in the middle of January, but it's been that kind of month. It has not exactly been a typical January in eastern Ohio and western PA. But more typical January weather is finally going to settle in by Friday and the weekend. We'll talk more about upcoming snow chances this evening on 21 News and Weather for Weather Geeks, but we've got one chance on Sunday of at least maybe a couple or a few inches, especially on the grass. And then middle of next week could be kind of interesting as well. So look for full updates on that this evening. I'll see you then. Make sure you're following me on all the social media outlets and have a great rest of your Thursday.